Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are charting a course into a place that is just breathtakingly beautiful, but also inherently hostile.
Oh, yeah.
A destination defined by the raw, untamed power of the world's largest freshwater lake. We are diving into the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore in Wisconsin.
Often called the jewels of Lake Superior.
Exactly.
And that contrast you mentioned, that beauty versus danger, that is really the key to understanding this place. We've synthesized material from the National Park Service, all trails, historical research, to give you the essential geographic highlights, the context, and the critical logistics you really need to know.
And our mission, as always, is to quickly deliver that core knowledge. We're talking about 21 stunning islands, 12 miles of mainland shoreline, all right on the northern tip of Wisconsin's Bayfield Peninsula.
It's a massive area, almost 70,000 acres of land and water.
A huge puzzle.
And the most important piece of that puzzle is Lake Superior itself. We have to start there. This is not some ordinary body of water.
Yeah.
It's the largest, cleanest, and coldest of all the Great Lakes. The sheer scale of Superior dictates everything. The climate, the geology, every story of maritime history here.
Okay, so let's unpack that history, because the story of the Apostles is, well, it's literally written in red rock, red sandstone specifically.
Right. The geological origin is just immense. We're talking massive glaciation events. The islands are basically leftovers.
Leftovers.
Yeah, remnants of ancient mountain ranges and glacial deposits. And that red sandstone that makes up the cliffs, it's much softer than something like granite, so it's highly susceptible to the lake's wave action, the freezing, the thawing.
So the famous sea caves we're going to talk about later, they're really just a product of the lake systematically chewing away at that soft rock for millennia.
Exactly. It's just constant erosion. That's what gives the whole area its signature look.
Wow.
Now, long before French explorers ever showed up, this area was, and it still remains, the ancestral homeland of the Ojibwe people. The sources show inhabitants were here as far back as the 14th century, mostly drawn by deposits of native copper.
That longevity of connection is just incredible, especially when you think about the European arrival centuries later. We know French explorers like Etienne Brulé, they visited in the 17th century.
Dude.
But what about the name, Apostle Islands? Where did that come from?
That is a great example of history mixing with myth. The generally accepted theory is that the Jesuits named them.
Okay.
They often gave religious names to new lands, and the idea was they were naming them after the 12 Christian apostles.
But wait a minute. There are 21 islands, sometimes 22, right? Depending on the tide. So if they were naming them after the 12 apostles, someone really miscounted.
That's the classic deep dive nugget. Either the Jesuits had a surprisingly large list of apostles, or, more likely, they only charted 12 significant land masses at first. The sources clarify that the current count 21 named islands and one mainland tract, that's the official total, which just proves the original biblical naming was never really accurate.
That detail makes it all feel much more real. Now, if we fast forward a bit to the late 19th, early 20th centuries, these islands were not a pristine wilderness.
No, not at all. And that's crucial context for understanding what they are today. The islands were heavily used. We're talking industrial logging, some farming, even small-scale mining.
So they were working lands.
Very productive, until those industries declined. That's what allowed the forest to start returning to a more primitive state.
Which sets the stage for the modern conservation movement. The area was officially protected as a national lakeshore on September 26, 1970.
Right, and that was thanks to legislation spearheaded by U.S. Senator Gaylord Nelson.
The visionary behind Earth Day.
The very same. And this is where the conservation story gets really dedicated. Originally, it was 20 islands in the mainland strip. Long Island was added later, in '86. But the key legal protection came in 2004.
Okay, tell us about that. What happened in 2004 that really cemented their identity as a wilderness destination?
So after a huge study and massive public support, Congress designated 80% of the land area, that's 35,000 acres, as the Gaylord Nelson Wilderness.
Wow.
This isn't just a protected park. It is the largest designated wilderness area in the entire state of Wisconsin.
So if it's already a national lakeshore, why is that wilderness designation such an important distinction for us to know?
Because the lakeshore designation protects the land, but the wilderness designation, it mandates completely different management philosophy.
How so?
Critically, it permanently prohibits motorized travel on those islands. No roads, no ATVs, just minimal human intrusion. It's a deliberate effort to keep 35,000 acres truly primitive.
The challenges of that must be immense.
They are. Maintaining infrastructure, emergency services, in a totally roadless area. It's a huge commitment to conservation.
That completely reframes the challenge of visiting. It's not just a park, it's a deep commitment to wildness. And speaking of commitment, there's talk of an even bigger designation on the horizon, isn't there?
There is. Recent legislation, introduced in 2024, proposes upgrading the National Lakeshore to become Wisconsin's first official national park.
And what about Sand Island?
It suggests designating Sand Island specifically as a national preserve. It's just a proposal for now, but it shows the political will to give this area the highest recognition possible.
Regardless of the title, those core features are the draw. Let's shift our focus to them, starting with the iconic sea caves. You see them in every brochure.
You do, and they're just spectacular. Formed by that interplay of rock and water we talked about, the Myers Beach sea caves on the mainland are the most famous, the most accessible.
And they have these dramatic archways and caverns against that, well, that beautiful aqua-colored water. Why that unusual color? It's not the Caribbean.
No, it's because Lake Superior is so incredibly cold and clean, and it gets deep right up to the cliffs, so there's very little sediment. When sunlight hits that water and reflects off the red sandstone bottom, you get that vibrant, almost tropical blue-green.
It's an illusion.
A stunning illusion in such a northerly place.
And then there's the winter attraction, the ice caves. They're world famous when they open.
Yes, but this is a critical safety point. The ice caves are only accessible when the lake freezes solid enough to walk on.
Which is getting rarer.
Increasingly rare and highly unpredictable. The sources had a current alert confirming they are closed right now due to unstable ice. You should never, ever assume the ice is safe. The Park Service is very clear about that.
Understood. Okay, beyond the dramatic cliffs, the other major historical feature scattered across these islands is the lighthouses.
This brings us right back to that maritime history. The Apostle Islands National Lakeshore actually has the largest collection of historic lighthouses of any National Park Service area.
In the entire system.
In the entire system. 8 historic towers on 6 different islands.
8 lighthouses. Why so many in such a small area?
Because the area is incredibly dangerous for navigation. Superior is massive, but the islands themselves are surrounded by hidden shoals, underwater rock formations.
And the weather.
And the weather. The northern exposure means dense, sudden fog and rapidly shifting conditions. Those lighthouses weren't a luxury. They were absolutely vital lifelines for shipping in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
That context makes them so much more powerful. Can you describe, say, 2 of the key towers for us?
Sure. Sand Island Lighthouse is one of the most recognized. It stands about 44 feet tall, a classic example of early automation.
Yeah.
It was switched over in 1922.
Okay.
Then you have the Raspberry Island Lighthouse. It's been fully renovated, and it's often described as one of the most scenic, just architecturally beautiful. Visiting them is like a tangible link to the harsh life of a lakekeeper.
It's fascinating how the natural and human history just collide here. Before we get into logistics, what does the ecological picture look like? What survived the logging?
The ecology is unique because the islands sit at the intersection of 2 major biomes. You have the cold boreal forest, kind of like Canada, and then the northern hardwood forest of the eastern U.S.
So that creates more diversity.
A surprisingly high amount. Over 800 plant species have been documented.
And the wildlife. Are we talking true wilderness mammals?
Absolutely. The islands support big populations of white-tailed deer and black bear, plus smaller water-loving mammals like beaver and otter. Red foxes are common too. The protection efforts have really let that ecosystem thrive again.
Especially in that 35,000-acre roadless wilderness.
Exactly.
Okay, that gives us the full context. Now, for the actionable intelligence, how do you actually access and safely navigate this unique environment?
Well, since the experience centers on water and wild travel, the main activities are hiking, paddling, kayaking, or canoeing, sailing, cruising, and fishing for trout and salmon.
What about scuba diving? I know there are shipwrecks.
There are. And the park allows scuba diving, but you have to get a free permit if you're diving within a quarter mile of the shore.
Let's focus on the trails. That's how most people experience the mainland. Based on the data, what's the consensus best must-do hike?
The clear winner is the Myers Beach Sea Caves via Lakeshore Trail. It's a highly rated, moderate 4-mile hike that gives you the absolute best views of those red sandstone cliffs.
Sounds like a wonderful walk, but I saw some warnings about the terrain. It's not exactly flat, is it?
Far from it. This is where the lakeshore meets the wilderness. The trail uses boardwalks, staircases across ravines, lots of changes in elevation. Visitors consistently warn about many, many steps.
So you need to be prepared.
You need sturdy footwear. The paths are rugged exposed tree roots, stream crossings. It's a real hike.
Are those boardwalks and steps a way for the Park Service to manage the high traffic while protecting the ecosystem?
That's exactly it. It's a way to channel foot traffic, prevent erosion on those unstable cliffs, and minimize the human impact on the vegetation. You're navigating sensitive territory.
For those looking for the full wilderness experience, what are the longest, most challenging routes?
If you want a deep woods adventure, you've got 2 trails over 10 miles. The Lakeshore Trail campsite route is about 10.7 miles out and back. It has the most elevation gain, almost 700 feet.
Popular with backpackers.
Very popular with runners and multi-day backpackers.
And what about the Trout Point Trail? I hear that one requires serious preparation.
Trout Point is the purest test of wilderness hiking there. It's 10.8 miles, and it's explicitly categorized as challenging wilderness travel.
Meaning?
The sources caution that you should expect markers to be obscured by downed trees. A compass is specifically advised. This isn't a casual stroll. It requires real navigational preparedness.
Given the extreme weather, are these trails truly accessible year-round?
They are popular in all 4 seasons, but that means adapting. In summer, prepare for biting insects. In winter, especially the Myers Beach area, you need serious planning.
What kind of gear?
You must bring traction gear, like spikes, to deal with the ice that forms so quickly in that cold lake climate.
For those who want to stay immersed, camping is a huge part of the Apostle Islands experience. What are the key things to remember?
Camping is available on 18 of the 21 islands, plus 3 mainland sites near Myers Beach. The crucial detail is the permit system.
Mandatory permits.
Mandatory, and you have to get them from the National Park Service in advance. You really need to plan ahead, especially for popular island site.
And finally, where's the operational hub for this huge protected space?
The park headquarters and main visitor center are in the small, charming town of Bayfield, Wisconsin. It gets extremely popular in the summer. It's the launch point for ferries and cruises. Red Cliff and Washburn are other nearby communities.
So what does this all mean? We've analyzed the history, the geography, the logistics. What's the unified takeaway from this deep dive?
The Apostle Islands National Lakeshore offers an absolutely unparalleled Great Lakes adventure. It's a powerful convergence of brutal geology, extensive maritime history. I mean, that record collection of lighthouses says it all. And a deep, deep commitment to preserving true, roadless wilderness in the heart of the Great Lakes.
And it makes you reflect on the deliberate choices that led to this. We've seen the islands go from heavily industrialized logging, farming, mining, to a place where 35,000 acres are now protected as the Gaylord Nelson Wilderness.
Where motorized travel is banned, specifically to ensure it returns to and stays in a primitive state.
Which raises a powerful final thought for you to consider. When you visit a place like this, where so much human effort has gone into removing technology and infrastructure, what is the true cost of restoring and maintaining a massive wilderness area?
And, maybe more importantly, what level of personal effort is required of us, the visitor, to respectfully navigate and enjoy a landscape that has been intentionally set aside from the modern world? That's the legacy the Apostle Islands ask you to contemplate.